All right. All right. How you guys doing? Indie World starts in 2 minutes. 2 minutes. I told you guys we weren't going to be doing much, early in the day here. I told you guys this yesterday. We weren't going to be really doing much of a show for this. We're just going to kind of roll with it. So 2 minutes to go here for this Indie World, and we'll see what it's about. We got our little caffeine kick for the day. I've actually been sleeping all morning. Fun fact, I didn't get to bed last night until, gosh, what was it? 3 in the morning? I was up till 3 in the morning. So there's that. Excellent news. My fiance's PCR COVID test came back negative. So that's some positive news today. We already have one of those at-home testing kits. That was also negative. And she got her sense of taste back. So whatever her sense of taste loss was something that I had no idea about, You can, by the way, you can lose your taste to like having a flu, having a cold as well. So losing your sense of taste isn't necessarily COVID anyways, but obviously she's never lost her sense of taste before, so she was scared, but we're all good. Whoa. I knocked over my drink. That's okay though, we got an Indie World. Hey, DJ. All right, we're all good. We're all good. You guys ready for this? I have no idea what's going to happen. Here we go. Ooh, we got some M-rated games. M-rated. M-rated. Let's go, everyone. What do we got? What do we got today? I always love the Indie World music.
Hello, and welcome to Indie World. I'm Amber.
And
Hi, Amber.
We're back to show you some indie games coming to the Nintendo Switch.
I missed the name of the guy.
Let's dive right in.
But Amber sounds nice. Here we go. Ooh, Creators of the Messenger. That was a good game. Hell yeah! Look at this. Oh man, this is giving me like Secret of Mana vibes. Oh, it's turn-based though. Completely turn-based, right? Yeah, it looks turn-based. Yep. It's not quite like Secret of Mana. More like, old school Final Fantasy, Chrono Cross. Looks good though. Elder Mist, face me now. Solstice Winter. Paul? Yeah, man. Sea of Stars, nice. Dude, that looked good.
Fans of classic RPGs with modernized elements will want to check out Sea of Stars.
I was really hoping it was going to play more like Secret of Mana, though.
Story of two
but that's okay. Not everything has to play the way I want it to.
And a solar blade dancer. They must combine the powers of the sun.
Looking for some TMNT. I'm looking for Hollow Knight, man. Hollow Knight Silk Song, baby. That's what I want. But I want that every single Indie World, and it's been years. Hollow Knight hasn't been seen since E3 2019. Think about that. Silk Song has not been seen since E3 2019.
Every nook and cranny, and that's just scratching the surface. Not to mention the incredibly moving story.
But yeah, this game was great.
Twists and turns. It's also set in the same universe as The Messenger and serves as a
And hey, folks, I played Hollow Knight Silk Song. That's the crazy thing. I was at E3 2019 and got to play Hollow Knight Silk Song. The video's on my channel. I played it twice, and we still haven't heard anything about it in over 2 years.
Chrono Cross and Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know if I compare it to Xenoblade.
Launches on Nintendo Switch.
That's a bit of a stretch.
2022.
Sea of Stars. That's a bit of a stretch. Now, Chrono Cross. I can see that comparison. Oh, what's this? This looks pretty. Music game? What is this? Puzzles? Oh, is this just like a real... Oh. Looks beautiful. This music. You guys got probably one of the simplest faces I've seen in a while. Lish?
Hi.
Leash?
Hi. 之内。我们是 Underscore Team，很高兴有机会带来这款游戏。达利夏，
希望借由 Asia 与绿夏的冒险旅程，可以让我们重新体验到人生当中会面临到许多痛苦的选择。这也是我们创作阿丽夏的初衷。
希望你可以开始寻找你的伙伴，因为阿丽夏接下来会在 Switch 上与大家见面。利用独特的操作玩法，我们也预期可以为你与伙伴之间带来非常不一样的体验。我们 Switch 上见吧，拜。
Bye.
There's plenty to admire in this puzzle adventure game. For twin sisters Aisha and Lisha, cooperation is key in safely navigating this deserted temple. The game makes creative use of the various input options available on Nintendo Switch. Each sister is controlled differently, and you can control both via solo
Each
or
sister is
local
controlled
co-op
differently.
play. With Aisha, you'll
I got
use
so many
motion
videos to make
controls
today.
with Joy-Con controllers in TV mode.
You guys are lucky
And
I'm
with
covering
Lisha,
this indie world.
You'll use touch controls to guide the helper robot.
I have
and
Breath of the
in
Wild 2
handheld
news
mode.
for you guys, and we're not talking
However you choose to
rumors.
play, you'll need the sisters
Real
to work
Breath of the
together
Wild 2
by
news.
exchanging clues and operating devices that can help you go deeper
Yeah,
inside
buddy.
the temple. But be
Legit
careful,
from
it's filled
Nintendo
with
themselves.
all sorts of menacing monsters and treacherous traps, some of which can trigger different endings.
I'm really excited about that news. Can't wait
The
to make that video.
heartfelt, overlapping music when playing with a friend, coupled with the emotional
This is
story,
gorgeous.
will complement your journey to uncover the
I
secrets
this
residing
looks
within.
like a really interesting game.
Alicia,
I'm a
the
little
ability
cold
of
right
Twin
now, though. I'll be right
Goddesses
back.
Launches as a console exclusive on Nintendo Switch, spring 2022.
Hi, I'm Adam.
And I'm Joe. We're two brothers who started our own indie studio in order to make a classic point-and-click adventure game. Today, we're excited to announce our debut title, Locomotive.
Set aboard a 1930s express train, you find yourself caught in the middle of a deadly mystery, full of twists, turns, and larger-than-life characters. Soul-satisfying puzzles and clear your name once and for all.
We both grew up playing point-and-click adventure games, and it's been a long-term ambition for us to put our own spin on it.
We can't wait for you to play Locomotive when it comes to the Nintendo Switch system.
Welcome aboard the Royce Express, where my guests indulge in luxury travel, fine dining, and...
Yeah, who's expecting there to be like big Nintendo games? This the indie world.
Well then, who's at hand?
Although
to
there is
satisfy
like some
your
exclusives you could
There's
expect,
my
like maybe
trusty lawyer,
we haven't seen in a while,
who will
Sports
be
Story.
detective and Her
What happened to that
Majesty's
game?
Secret Service. There's
Right?
just one problem.
Pretty sure Sports Story
They're
hasn't
the
come out yet, right?
suspects. With puzzles to solve, palms
Because
to
I don't
grease,
know.
and
I don't know this.
clues
I don't
to
know what's up with
uncover.
Sports Story.
They'd better prove their innocence
Pretty sure that
fast,
hasn't come out.
Or it's the end of the line in an adventure
But yeah, you're not going to
that's
see big
just
Nintendo games
nuts.
in Indie World.
It's Locomotive.
Locomotive. I like that. It's a clever name. It's a clever name.
Ooh, I do love me a good murder mystery.
Then you'll love.
Are those people on Nintendo's
a
official
single-player
stream?
point-and-click comedy adventure.
Yeah, you're
Climb
gonna
aboard the
get
Royce
some.
Express and
I don't want to call them
investigate the
idiots,
suspicious
but you're gonna
death
get
of
people
Lady Unterwald.
You'll play
that
as a straight-laced
don't
lawyer,
understand what to expect from an indie
amateur
world.
detective, and
This indie world's been
an
pretty banger
undercover
so
agent
far.
At different points in the story. Along the way, you'll meet a fully
Late
voiced
90s
cast
point-and-click
of
vibes, yeah, yeah.
characters and
Well, they
solve
did say it's a
head-scratching
point-and-click game, so
puzzles to prove
this
your
has one of those,
innocence.
you know.
Figure out who
I
done
played
it
some of these
and
kind of games back on PC a long
Locomotive
time ago.
inspired them to
I haven't
murder
played one
in
in a
the first
while though.
place. Locomotive steamrolls onto Nintendo Switch summer 2022.
A sequel to Cadence of Hyrule would be nice, or if it's not, you just even a Cadence, a new Cadence game in general. It doesn't have to be a sequel to that.
It's almost 1 p.m., you sleepyhead.
That voice is annoying.
Your friends
Sorry,
are
well, I'm
waiting
assuming you're not
for
talking about
you.
me.
Come on.
Dude, if you're an indie developer and you can get your game into indie world, you know how like hype you must be right now watching this. So, like Natsu, you seriously, and being in an indie world can be life changing
But you need to live your life.
because Nintendo's eShop sucks. Like it sucks. You can't get any attention on the eShop. So to be in these indie worlds almost guarantees you a certain level of sales, and that's awesome.
On behalf of the Pixelnesia team from Indonesia, I'm proud to announce our
From Indonesia,
upcoming game,
nice.
Afterlove EP. Afterlove EP is a modern-day story of music, loss, acceptance, loving others as well as yourself.
So, guy, I got some advice for you. You know that windscreen you have on your lapel? That's for when you're outside, my guy.
We want
Just letting you
players to
know.
experience
You
this
seem like a
vibrant
nice
place we
guy,
call
but
home,
you could have removed
which is
that
also
giant
considered as the
windscreen.
melting
You
pot
don't need that when
of
you're
the
indoors.
multicultural
In
people
fact, you
of
don't really need
Indonesia.
any windscreen on
We
a Love
cannot
Hell
wait
mic when
to
you're
let you
indoors.
experience our unique narrative adventure and explore our interpretation of
You don't even need a
Jakarta.
pop filter on one.
From the creative director of What
I'm just
Comes
giving him a
After
little bit.
and Coffee Talk comes a stirring narrative about love, loss, and lyricism. Set in Jakarta, Indonesia,
Somber
Afterlove EP focuses
Did I play
on
my
young
guitar now?
musician Rama,
Ooh.
who struggles to compose music after his girlfriend Chinta passes away.
I like the hand-drawn
By
style.
communicating with Chinta's voice inside his head, Rama
Dude, did
will
he
learn
solo
how to
create
cope
this
with
game? Is this a one-person
forge
game?
new relationships, and even potentially love again.
A mixtape of visual novel, rhythm game, and narrative adventure. Afterlove
Red Chaos
EP
173, you're not
challenges
wrong.
you to complete
Nintendo and
EP of
Microsoft have
music
been
to
a lot better
fulfill
at supporting
promise
indies,
made to Chinta.
to the point Sony
There
actually
are multiple
acknowledged that.
endings
It was
based on
either
the
late
choices
last
you
week
make,
or
as
yes
well
or
as an
early this
original
week.
soundtrack from Indonesian
Sony
band
came out and
Alpha.
said that they know they've dropped the
striking
ball with
art
indies and
direction
they
from
need to do a better job. And they were
Start
trying to
anew
commit
in
to
Afterlove
doing better
EP,
with indies. But
launching
we'll
on
see what happens.
Nintendo
So Sony
Switch
knows.
summer
Sony's well
2022.
aware that they haven't done a great job with indies. They've been really focusing on here's all our big games and your games don't matter. Whereas Nintendo, I mean, we almost get more indie worlds than directs a year. Nintendo's very good at promoting indie games in general. Not necessarily on their eShop. Their eShop sucks. But, I mean, Nintendo's they have an entire indie world Twitter account always promoting indie games. They're always promoting indie games nonstop every day on the official Nintendo America Twitter account. Like, you know, they're uploading indie trailers to Nintendo's YouTube channel. This game looks baller, by the way. Like, Nintendo's constantly promoting indies. Just as much, sometimes more so, than their own games. It's crazy.
I'm hungry. I've got the munchies.
Nintendo's
Dungeon munchies,
been
that
so
is.
supportive of
Then
these.
this 2D side-scrolling
kudos to them
action
for that.
platformer should definitely satisfy your craving.
There's no really
You
reason
are
not
dead.
to either. Like, you
Well,
get a cut
you
of
were
every
dead,
sale
and now
because
you've
it's on
been
your
revived in a
platform.
mysterious
So it
underground
benefits
facility.
you
But
too.
forget
So
how
I don't know
you're
why
not
you
here.
wouldn't promote them.
You've got to get out.
With the help of the undead necro chef Simmer, you'll hunt down
Looks almost
monsters
like Metroid
and
Dread.
cook and eat
Not-
them. There are around 100 dishes that provide various abilities.
Not quite. I wouldn't say it's
One
Metroid
dish, for
Dread.
example, might give you the power to serve up.
It does remind me of
So you
what old
are
game
what
was
you
that?
eat.
Literally.
I mean, the
this
food,
game
not the
is a
food
great
part.
place
And
to
there was
get
a
locally
lot
sourced
of
and
games
farm
quite like
fresh
that.
monsters. So mix and match to get the right meal for your playstyle. And let's not forget the eclectic cast of characters, hilarious.
It does
side-scrolling
remind me of
story,
something, but it
and
wasn't
charming
Metroid.
2D
Yeah,
pixel art.
man.
Better bring a voracious appetite when Dungeon Munchies devours its way onto the
I don't know,
Nintendo Switch
Dungeon
system
Munchies.
later today.
Dungeon Munchies. Like so, no.
Hej med jer. Jeg hedder Niels.
It's gonna bother me.
Jeg
I
er
can't remember the name of
spildesigner og
the game.
lyddesigner hos Bedtime Games. Jeg har lavet spilmusik i over 10 år. Vores kommende spil, Figment 2, er fyldt med masser af musical boss fights og andre lydlæggerier.
Musical
For at få
boss.
de mest punchy lyde, har jeg været ude ved mit træsvær og smadret på havegriller og kaffekander. Musikken i Figment indordner sig efter dig. Vi har brugt rigtig meget energi på at få lyd, musik og gameplay til at spille sammen. Og vi glæder os rigtig meget til at vise jer spillet. I'm coming back to the surface. I need time to make things right.
Suddenly he's singing English, huh? This is his voice. I swear that this is his voice.
We're already on to the next segment?
Yep, this isn't a figment of your imagination.
Oh, very funny.
Okay, this looks
In this
awesome.
musical puzzle adventure game, you'll make your way through a rhythmic world set in the human mind. Unfortunately, nightmares are spreading chaos everywhere. It's up to you to put an end to their fearsome schemes. Play solo or locally with a friend as you wield your trusty
This
sword
looks
and
really
engage in
cool.
combat. Manipulate environments to solve compelling puzzles, and have symphonic showdowns against a musically menacing
I want to
bosses.
see like
That
a
sounds
glimpse of what the
trouble,
music's like when
or,
you fight a boss.
Trouble.
Since they say it keeps talking about it.
Figment 2.
They showed off boss fights. I would have liked to see how the music works with it. 'Cause they mentioned how important the music was to the fight.
Later today on Nintendo.
Oh, free demo! Hey, look at that!
Deep
There we
sea
go.
Check.
I guess we can find out today what the music's like.
Drawing?
Love it. Figment 2 demo today.
Surviving on the moon? Check that too. A slew of board games from developer Oink Games are coming to Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, man. I don't have to check all that demo myself. Figment 2. I'm
hunts
gonna
in
jot that down so
deep-sea
I don't forget. 'Cause I
Become
have a lot
the
going on
biggest
today.
Investor in
I'm gonna get my notepad up here and jot down
Catch the
Figment 2
sketchy
demo.
rogue and don't get caught in A Fake Artist Goes to New York. And recover supplies with your fellow astronauts to survive in Moon Adventure. The games are designed to be easy to understand. They also capture and recreate the feel of their original tabletop versions.
You can play all the games.
Dude, demos are always the way to go. I think
So you can play
every
with
game
friends
should
near
have
and
demos,
far.
in my opinion.
Get together and play on one system, or
Yeah.
create a room with friends.
Where's Zuxun?
More
I have
games
no
will
idea.
also be added in the future.
You know, I have nothing to do with
Start a game night with Let's Play Oink Games, launching as a timed console exclusive on Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, it's kind of
later
like a
today.
family game.
Hi, I'm Javier, CEO and
I think
programmer
every
at
games look
Purity
good today
Studios.
in this
Hi,
indie world.
I'm Iris. I'm working as an environment artist for our upcoming title, Endling Extinction is Forever.
I swear if like
wanted to create a
the
game that
general
raises
reaction
awareness
to
about
this
how the
indie
world
world is
may
it
be
sucks
in the
because
near
Hollow
future
Knight
if we
Silk
don't
Song's
change our
not here.
consumption habits.
It's just gonna piss
The
me off.
environment is
You know
very
that's not the only game that
nice
matters from the
since we
indie
want
world,
to
right?
emphasize a
Like I
foxy
want it to be
behavior
here. Maybe it
and
will be. Maybe it'll be the
contrast
final
how
game. But
the
I
deteriorating world and human threats
like it's just
during the
one
day.
indie
We hope
game.
that
There's
Endling
other
may
indie
encourage
games that
everyone
matter.
to reflect, but also that players around the world can enjoy its story, gameplay, and cuteness.
Is that a man or a woman? Does it matter? That's the real question. Does it really matter? Fall Guys that have a solid release date. Yeah. This looks interesting. So you're a fox. Oh, people won't like you because you're a fox. Oh man, are you have a kid? This is the story of you and your kid. Or kids. Huh. Interesting.
As the last mother fox in Endling, Extinction is Forever, you'll need to keep your 3 cubs alive and lead them to safety. In a world
I think everyone
ravaged
wants to
by
play Shredder's
humanity.
Revenge for the most
In
part.
this
If you're a
game,
TMNT
blending
fan,
stealth,
I know I'm looking forward to
survival,
Shredder.
and adventure, you'll make your way through devastated environments
Please don't
to
yell
reach
at
the
us.
one place on
I'm not
Earth
yelling
where
at you guys.
humans
I just
can't
always
hurt
see a lot of
you.
comments where people
Along
want
the
like
way,
one
you'll
individual
hunt
game
other
every single
animals
indie
to
world,
feed
and then they
your
get really
cubs, as
pissed
well as teach them
when it's
new
not there.
skills to make
Like it's
them less
Nintendo's
vulnerable
fault.
to predators.
Nintendo has nothing to do with the
I really
development of
hope
these
they
games,
make it.
so
I do
they can't
too.
control when companies
But
are
in
ready
the
to show
end,
stuff.
how many of your cubs survive the perilous journey is up to you.
Endling, Extinction is
When they
Forever.
die, they die.
Launches on
Love
Nintendo
that.
Switch.
Looks like it was
spring
his kids.
2022.
Okay.
Here's more info about the skateboarding action platformer Ollie Ollie World from our
Oh,
friends at Roll
Ollie
7
Ollie World. I forgot
and
about this
Private
game.
Division.
Forgot about this game.
Far across the Ollie Ollie world is Radlandia, a nation forged by the skate gods. Join your crew and travel across our beautiful land. Wall ride among the trees, forge new paths through the desert, or cross moving platforms in picturesque Sketchside. You'll see some weird stuff along the way. But don't worry, that's just part of your journey to Nirvana. There you'll compete with champions.
Red Chaos.
challenging
Why would
each
people be
other's
mad it's
skills
not
to
a
win
Nintendo
rewards.
Direct? Nintendo
And
doesn't
create
do
new routes to
Nintendo
share
Directs
with
in
your
December.
friends. So come shred
Like
by
they
the
just
sea.
don't do Nintendo
Chase
Directs
a
in
bee.
December. They
Plant
always
a
have a
tree.
direct either in
Get on
January or
down to
February, not
Radlandia.
December. So why are
Achieve
people?
Nirvana.
There's like no reason to get mad about it. There's always a direct in
Bonus
January or
items.
February, not
Oh,
December.
Nice.
Indie worlds
those.
traditionally happen in December. So
Ollie
I
Ollie
don't,
World
why
rolls
would
onto
people get mad that
Nintendo
it's not a
Switch
direct?
February 8th,
Like,
2022.
Does Nintendo not have enough
later
games coming
today
next
on
year?
Nintendo
Like why?
eShop.
I don't even feel like we need a direct
Hi,
right
I'm
now. Look how many
David,
games
director
are
of
coming
River City
that
Girls
we already
2.
know about.
And I'm
I don't need a
Colleen
direct
Byrne,
right now
producer of River City Girls 2.
at all.
I've been a
Just
River
have
City
no
fan
need for a
since the
Nintendo
days of
Direct
the
at this
Nintendo
exact
Entertainment
moment.
System. And in
It's
fact,
more
this
just,
is the
yeah, I'd
third
like to see
River
more
City
from those
game I've
games.
worked
We
on.
don't need
So
to.
I'm thrilled to bring you an all-new adventure starring
We're gonna have
Misako,
so much great stuff in
Kyoka,
2022. Why are we worrying
and
about it in 2021 right now?
We
Let's
were
just
blown
let
away
2022
by the
happen,
response
guys.
to the first River City Girls. So,
Probably
for
going to
the
be
sequel,
the
we're
best
including
year for
everything
Switch.
players loved about the original,
Maybe ever.
plus a
Maybe you
whole
could
lot
top
more,
2017.
including online co-op.
We're
Like, it might
working
top
really hard to get
2017.
this game into your
We
hands as
kick
soon as
off
possible.
with Legends
In the
Arceus in
meantime,
January.
Please enjoy our
In
review
January
trailer
of 2017,
for
Switch didn't even exist. Well, it existed, but it wasn't out in the wild. So, like, we'll see, man. Dude, I think all the games look great. Now, I will say, not every game shown is going to appeal to every person, of course. That's the way it is in Nintendo Direct as well. So, like, they're showing a really wide variety of games, and I like that. That's one thing that's cool about indies is there's such a wide variety of games. Like, people focus more on, like, certain genres for some reason from indie, which I think is dumb. Now, if that's a genre you're into, I understand. Like, people who want Hollow Knight Silksong really bad, well, you're into that genre of game. Oh, like, really bad. So all these other genres like this, a sort of fighting game, a beat-em-up game, River City Girls 2, maybe that doesn't interest you.
More baddies to take down?
So
let's go.
Right there with you. Way Forward is back with the sequel.
Yeah,
to the
I think there's a
River
lot.
City
I think
Girls.
all these games look
There's
really good. It's
trouble
just,
brewing once
are you
again in
into
River
this
City
kind of
with
game?
higher stakes, meaner streets,
That's
and
the better
even
question.
more over-the-top
Take your
humor.
6 with the $2 says,
Take
Yo, Nate,
control of one
what
of
sells
6
better?
characters, including returning powerhouses Kyoko and Misako.
Open world
Each
Kirby or
character has
Sonic?
their own fighting style and upgradable
Pretty sure
movesets,
Sonic.
which you'll need as you set off on a new quest, picking up where the first game left
Sonic's
off.
on multiple
And when we say
platforms.
new,
So let's just start
we
with that.
mean it.
Sonic's
New moves,
going to be on everything.
enemies,
Open
areas,
world Kirby's going to be on
items,
Switch. So,
and
like,
a new
by
soundtrack
default,
by the
Sonic's
first
going to sell
game's
better.
composer,
And Kirby usually
Megan
only sells a
McDuffie.
couple mil.
Not
So,
to mention branching paths, as well as a return of a familiar foe. Get the fists flying solo, or team up with a friend, locally or online. What do you say, Paul? Ready to give some goons the old 1-2?
this looks dope. The River City Girls 2.
River City Girls 2 punches its way onto Nintendo Switch.
Which I'm not surprised. This
2022.
game already, the whole River City franchise already has a following.
We've got several more
Because there's
indie
been
games
several
coming
River
to
City
Nintendo Switch. From painting the world to a management sim with dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs.
Enjoy.
I love like dinosaurs. Oh, here's like a little clip. Oh, there's dinosaurs. So you can definitely tell these ones don't. Oh, that's kind of cool though. So this is like that's like theme park but for dinosaurs. I like that. Indie style version of it, of course. Oh, this looks good. Oh, I like the art direction on that. So like these are obviously the games that they felt weren't as big of a deal to show off like in individual segments. Sometimes there's some gems in here though. Baby Storm. God, my kids would love this game. They love these silly kind of games like this. Look at this. Interesting art style. Now that gives you a little bit of Metroid Dread vibes, even though it's not a shooty game. Timeline? Or Timley? Okay. The finest scenery. Yeah, you cook that egg sunny side up. I'm a graphic designer. If only it was that easy. Now, let me just throw a blob on a paper and it turns into a beautiful
Today's
sun.
Indie World. Or not. We've got one more game.
All right, one more. Here we go. Here's the big game. They're ending with. Okay. Stop motion. Hand drawn. Are we going to actually see gameplay? Or is this just some really weird gameplay? I mean, I get it's hand-drawn, stop-motion stuff. That's it? Didn't
The
see
critically
oh.
acclaimed RPG
I was like,
Omori
please say
is
we see
making its
gameplay.
way onto Nintendo Switch.
Definitely didn't see this kind of
forth
game
between
coming. Maybe I
two
should have.
strange and vibrant worlds, each one brimming with colorful friends and foes to uncover a forgotten past. You'll experience an unconventional story and turn-based battle system, supplemented by warm illustrations by renowned artist Omocat, who also produced, wrote, directed, and coded much of the game. Omori
Wow.
does lean into some heavy
So this is
topics,
almost a
so be
one-person
prepared.
project.
It's quite the
There was like
journey.
2 or 3
Omori
people that worked
launches
on
on
this game.
Nintendo Switch spring 2022.
Nice. I mean, it looks interesting. You know, you got to be into
That's all
that
for
super
today's Indie
hand-drawn
World.
style.
We hope you enjoyed the lineup of games in today's showcase.
The first game, the game at the start might have been the game I would have chose to end with.
And thank you for watching.
But I mean, maybe everyone at
Don't
Nintendo's
forget
really
to follow
excited
our
about that
official
game. So
Twitter
they've
account
played
to
all these
stay
indie
up to
games.
date on all the latest news from Indie World. Until next time.
Yep. See, I told you,
gaming.
official Twitter. And they got one for like every region. Okay. All right. All right. Give me a second here. So yeah, I thought that was a pretty good Indie World personally. I know not all of you guys are going to agree, of course. But I felt like that was a solid Indie World. It wasn't, you know, maybe the greatest Indie World that I've seen. There's a few others, especially in 2017 that I remember really fondly. But I do think it was pretty solid. I think every game shown looked solid. Obviously until you got to the clip, or like the massive collab clip of all those different indie games kind of tossed in there. I'm glad that clip's in there for those indie games, but a lot of those indie games didn't look that appealing to me. But it doesn't mean they're bad games; they're just different. And that last game they ended with was kind of a weird one. I'm not sure I get a good grasp of what that game is. I get the person who made it, like, my God, you know, he did everything. He coded the damn thing. He helped make the music in the damn game. He helped write all the script for the damn game. He helped literally like write a majority of the code in the game. It's almost a one-man project. And that is, I mean, that's admirable. Even if you end up not liking the direction of the game or the art style, to do literally everything in making a game. I don't think you guys understand how incredibly difficult that is, especially when it's completely all custom hand-drawn stuff. It's not Unity assets bought off the Unity store, right? Completely custom work. I can applaud that. But I think it was all really good. I think obviously there are 2 games in there that people are probably going to be talking about the most after that first game. Let's get the exact name on that game quick. Because I can't rewind the Indie World yet. I just tried, it didn't work. Let's see if I can find a recap here. There's probably a recap on Twitter, on the Indie World Twitter. Hold on. Go to the Indie World Twitter quick. Indie World, North America. Yeah, they got some of the games up here. Let's see here. That first game they showed was good. Yeah, there it is. That was. Look at the name of it here. Come on, logo pop up. Sea of something. Okay. Go back to the beginning here. Watch again. Come on. The name's only on the screen for like a brief second. It's Sea of something. Sea of Stars. So Sea of Stars looked really good. The one game that I thought looked really good, it has a demo that came out today. That one being Figment 2. Has a demo out today. So I have that jotted down to go try out that demo today. I thought that one looked really good as well. And then there was that Lisho. That Lisho game I thought looked really good as well. More of a puzzle game. Looks like the character might be a little bit slow moving. I might prefer a little bit faster movements, but the point of the game is the puzzles. So you kind of explore a world and solve puzzles to advance. I thought that one looked good too. So I don't know. Those are kind of like my 3 games that I really enjoyed. From this game. Is it Alicia? I have no idea. But those are kind of the 3 big games I enjoyed from this Indie World the most. But I thought all of them looked good. There's River City Girls 2. I mean, obviously people are going to be really into River City Girls. If you're into the River City franchise at all from Way Forward, It's a really well-known franchise at this point for indies. One of the most well-known indie franchises. So I could see that, tickling people's fancy as well. What do you guys think? Let's go to the chat here and get what you guys think. Dev Chill saying, I think Soul Song is going to be in a regular direct. Feel that if they show it in an indie direct, it will completely overshadow everything else shown. That's always possible as well. I know that they were sort of doing that with No More Heroes, because No More Heroes 3 is technically an indie game by Grasshopper, and they kept putting that in normal direct. So there are some times where an indie game is like so huge it gets in normal directs. Now, they do sprinkle in indie games into directs anyways. And sometimes it feels a little weird when some of them are in there because it feels like, oh, that's better for an indie world. But I mean, I think they did a solid job with this indie world. They're promoting games coming out early next year. Nothing wrong with that. I think it was a good indie world. Let's see here. I'm just reading some responses here from you guys. The munching dungeon pot culture, dude. That like dungeon munchies game looked really, really interesting. Really different. 100 mile per hour winds in Colorado. Damn, man, that's fast. We have had 100 mile per hour here in Wisconsin before. By the way, we get tornadoes here too. So like people always have like, you don't know what because of all that tornado action that's been going on. We get tornadoes here. We had tornadoes ravage a couple towns last year, which of course got zero news coverage because nobody cares about small towns in the middle of Wisconsin. We had a $5 super chat from Nintendo Academy. How's it going, man? Reminder, everyone. On Saturday, Nintendo Academy has his big giveaway event happening on his channel. You guys know how you love my Prime giving and other stuff. He's got a similar event happening on the 18th, which I wanted to partake in with him, but unfortunately, I got family Christmas stuff happening on the 18th, so I won't be able to partake. But you guys should go check out Nintendo Academy's channel and get a chance to win some free shit. He's got some good stuff going on. But he says, love the indie showcase, and this one was solid, but I'm still waiting for that indie developer to break the internet. Create something special. I think that's technically happened one time. I don't know that anyone breaks the internet. Like we joke about how, oh my God, it broke the internet. Oh my God, look at it. Everything's trending. This and like we talk about that. But technically an indie developer did do something that surprised everybody. The indie developer is now owned by Microsoft and now has AAA funding. That indie developer created a AAA franchise at this point while being an indie studio, while making it on a shoestring budget like all the other indie games, proving that you can make games of that quality with an indie studio. That being Hellblade. Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice. That game was an indie game. People forget that Hellblade, the original Hellblade, was an indie game. It was made by an independent studio of AAA developers that broke off from all the other and wanted to prove that you could make AAA quality games without needing hundreds of millions of dollars. Their entire point of making Hellblade was to prove you can make that high quality of a game without the budget. And they proved it. Now, the advantage they have is that all of those developers on that team worked in the AAA video game industry, so they already knew how to do a lot of this stuff. I think a lot of indie developers out there never really worked in the AAA industry, so they don't have the experience to make a game like Hellblade, but they proved that AAA games can be made. AAA-like games can come out of the indie scene. Now, we've also argued in the past that there's always been a number of indie games that have actually been somewhat better than AAA experiences in the past. A number of them. Didn't the indie game like win Game of the Year once? Hades was like a really big deal, right? Like, so we have to recognize there have been every now and then these big indie games that come out. By the way, I'm not saying every game needs to be like Hellblade. I'm just saying that was a game that if you didn't know that was an indie studio with next to no budget, you would think that was some high budget, $100+ million funded AAA game. Not some game made for less than $1 million. It was a very cheaply put together game that they put together in like a year and a half. That team is incredible. And now it's going to be even more incredible to see what they do now that they have full funding by Microsoft. But yeah, that was an independent studio, and I don't think it gets enough recognition for what it did with that one game. The problem is when you make games that great, of course someone's going to buy you up. I mean, no major company is going to let an indie studio sit out there making games like that and not just throw a shitload of money at you to buy you, because that takes a lot of talent, a lot of skill. Let's see. You're just reading some of the chat here. There's a lot of great indie games. Golf Story, Cuphead too. Golf Story was really good. Cuphead, Hollow Knight, Celeste. Yeah, I always forget about Celeste because Celeste really wasn't for me. I tried it out, but still a really great game. The Tourist and so many others. Is Hellblade better experience with headphones? You got it through Game Pass, but I haven't tried it yet. Yes. I would say the kind of game Hellblade is better experience with headphones. However, it's still really good without. But I've played it both ways. Hellblade probably is better with headphones, but it's just a really good game. You have it on Game Pass, you might as well give it a try, right? Hellblade's really good. Every studio could do it, but the people who have the big names, like Miyamoto, have weight behind their name, so his job costs money. The budget of nobodies who work for free can make a cheap game. Yeah, the Genshin Impact is an indie studio, as well, I believe. Although aren't they owned now by Tencent? I thought Genshin Impact was owned. Well, that studio is owned by Tencent. Tencent ain't no company that you could be talking about indies with, man. Tencent is, for those who don't know, like some people really hate Tencent for various reasons. Usually because of what the monopoly they have in China, and the way that company maintains that monopoly is a little, I would say most people wouldn't consider it very moral. But Tencent has like secretly become like the biggest video game company in the world. It's crazy what's happened to Tencent, man. The biggest video game company in the world. They're so huge. Tragic Toe starting before 99. Thank you so much for the $5. He says Minecraft literally broke the internet, and YouTube is celebrating 1 trillion Minecraft video. Yeah, Minecraft's another one. See, Minecraft was another one. Now, people today don't consider it an independent game anymore because you really can't. Like Mahjong, like that's all. It's all owned. That studio that makes Minecraft is owned fully by Microsoft now, so it's no longer an indie game, but its roots were an indie game. It started as an indie game and then blew up. So yeah, Minecraft's another good example of a game that literally blew up. Tencent is they have stupid money. They could buy Sony and Nintendo at their current market value and not even blink an eye. Tencent is stupid rich. Like we talk about, Apple, first $1 trillion company. Are we sure? Are we sure they're the first $1 trillion company? Because nobody really knows how much money Tencent has. Nobody knows because they don't have to report it because they're in China. They don't have to report their income. So, do we really? Are like Amazon, Microsoft, like are these companies actually bigger than Tencent? Because I'm not so sure that's the case. Tencent is, everyone has to work with them. You want to be in China's market, you got to work with Tencent, or you're not going to get anywhere. So like Nintendo works like the Switch. Nintendo sells Switches through Tencent in China. Like if you don't work with Tencent, you can't be in China. It's just the way it is. So and China literally is, what is it, a third of the world's population or something crazy like that? It's insane. They have so much of the world's population. Their company is huge, man. Again, I'm not throwing a lot of shade at them. I don't know a ton of all the details around Tencent. I do know that we seem to get a lot of good games from them, though. From their studios they own, seem to be making a lot of solid. Genshin Impact, as an example, is a good game. And I'm pretty sure they're owned by them. Later, Paul Gale. Oh, wait, you're not saying bye. You're saying fun event. Nice. One looked like Zelda. Yeah, a little bit. Did we see Silksong? No, we did not. Genshin Impact's not owned by Tencent. Really? I thought it was. I could be wrong on that. I'm gonna look that up quick. I thought there was a major company that owns that studio. Because I know it's made by MiHoYo. I mean, that's not surprising. Who owns MiHoYo? Nope, they're still independent. Good for them. Good for them. They're still fully independent. Because they're fully independent because the controlling stakeholder, who is the chairman and president of MiHoYo, is Kai Hayu. I probably butchered his name. He has been unwilling to sell. So basically, the majority stake owner of the company has been unwilling to sell. So that's why they've stayed independent. So good for him. Good for him to stick into his guns and not letting Tencent and others buy him out. Someone mentioned that they really want to see what I have to say about the Breath of the Wild 2 news. Some of you guys already know what the news is, but we're gonna deep dive into it. We're not just gonna like show you some images. There's a whole lot of for those who don't know, for my Breath of the Wild 2 video, which I'm literally starting to work on when I get off stream here. The Breath of the Wild 2 video is going to be special today because Nintendo put up like sort of patents or whatever over some gameplay concepts that are specific to Breath of the Wild 2. And not only is there a shitload of images that show off all these really new gameplay mechanics that we've never seen in Zelda before. Some of it we've actually seen in the trailers. Why they feel like they need to patent these ideas, I don't know, but they felt like they needed to. And because of that, there's like a really long, like 4-page text document that goes along with it that I'm literally going to be sifting through right when I get off of this stream. So I can jot down all the important shit, which might end up being a whole page of important shit. This is Zelda we're talking about. Almost everything in that document is going to be important. But that's real news. That's real news. This isn't like bullshit. This is Nintendo themselves had this patent go public over things that we've already seen are in Zelda. So we know this is literally Breath of the Wild 2. It's gonna be a really sweet video. Now, if you're expecting to see like screenshots of the game or like new footage, that's not gonna happen. You're gonna see some drawings that show off concepts, but you're not gonna see like new Breath of the Wild 2 footage. What we will find out are how mechanics in the game work, as well as some new gameplay mechanics they haven't shown off yet. New gameplay mechanics for Breath of the Wild 2 that haven't been shown off. Now, again, these patents don't necessarily mean these things are in the game, but for it to come out now and for some of the stuff in it to already be present in the trailers, chances are that all these gameplay mechanics are probably in the game. So it's going to be it's going to be exciting. That video is going to be fun. We'll see if I'm even on camera for it. It might be one of those videos that I just have so much good stuff to get through that I'm not on camera for it. That happens once in a while where we just have so much like raw information to go through. Where I just sit down here, I start talking on this mic. I don't even turn the camera on, and we just go at it. So that's going to be a huge video today. I know some others have already covered it. I don't know if they're going to cover it as in depth as me. I'm going through everything. We ain't missing a beat on this one, guys. This is Breath of the Wild 2, my most anticipated game ever. So like, I ain't gonna miss a beat on this one. We're gonna nail the coverage on that. That's getting its own video. We had a new Pokemon Legends Arceus trailer drop today. Feel like I need to talk about that at some point. Might save it for the podcast tonight. We'll see, because we do have a podcast tonight at 8 p.m. Central. Hopefully I see all you guys there. We do have Eric will be here. We got an old returning former co-host of the Nintendo Prime podcast. I'm very curious if any of you guys recognize him. He'll be returning. No, it's not 5J. Some of you guys will be like, 5J. No. Predates the 5J days. And we might have a patron on tonight, as well as another special guest. We might have a jam-packed show with like 6 people. It might be crazy. It might be the biggest amount of people on a single podcast we've ever had. For now, though, I guarantee 3, possibly 4, maybe 5 of us. So it's gonna be a fun podcast tonight. Does any ever go as in depth as you? Does anyone ever go as in depth as me? There's channels that go more in depth depending on what the topic is and what the coverage is. When it comes to Zelda, I tend to go a little overboard with my coverage of Zelda because it's my favorite franchise. But there's channels that do it better. Like I don't do big trailer breakdowns. Like sometimes we'll go on live and we'll slowly go through a trailer and we'll talk about it. But I don't do like the big trailer analysis videos and stuff like that, like IGN and what is it, Game Explained put out there. So there's channels that go more in depth at times. But I try not to miss a beat with Zelda. And like, I know some people, you know, maybe even somebody watching, get really tired of like the rumor and leak videos, even though I think the leak video yesterday was awesome. That went up at like just after midnight. I thought that video was awesome. But besides that one video, I know some people get really tired of the rumor and leak kind of stuff because, you know, it's a lot of speculative, don't know what's going to happen. People get mad at me and blaming me when things don't happen. Like, oh man, like if you look at the comments on that video yesterday, there's like one person who said, you know, oh, why was your fat ass back on camera? Blah, 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 blah. You know, you said there was going to be Zelda stuff, at Zelda 35th stuff at the Game Awards and was wrong. You're a piece of shit. And it's like, that's not what I said. Now, you guys watching, some of our more ingrained people that actually watch all the videos know that's not what I said. You know because you watch the videos. I never once said we are getting Zelda stuff there. I reported on rumors, and then I did some speculation based on a Nintendo Power podcast. But I always said I don't know anything. I always said hype responsibly. I mean, the shirt says it itself, hype responsibly. I always said that. So, like, I always said I don't know anything. I don't know what's going to be there. There could be no Zelda. I'm very, very much transparent on that front. But people get angry. People get mad when you talk about things that end up not happening. And they start blaming people like me. And I don't even want to say don't shoot the messenger. I'm the one that made the speculation video based on the Nintendo Power podcast. That wasn't like, you know, that wasn't shooting the messenger. That was me putting a speculative video out there. So what? Like we don't all talk with our buddies. I consider this channel to be like I'm talking with friends. I'm shooting the shit about video games with friends, and we all talk about and hype up things that might happen. When I was a kid, I used to hype up things for games that I didn't even know existed yet. Like, that's just what people do with their friends. They talk about video games, and they talk about possibilities and wants and desires and speculate based on various things. I'm a gamer like everyone else. People watch my content, and they think, like, you have a higher responsibility. You can't just be a gamer that's excited to talk about stuff. You have to be more responsible. You need to be treating yourself like you're the CNN of gaming. And which I think some of those comparisons to traditional media are bullshit. But I've seen people say, like, you have a responsibility to be, like, strictly just the facts. We don't give a shit about your opinion. We don't give a shit about what you have to say. We don't give a shit about speculation. And to that I say, fuck off, man. Like, this is my channel. I'm going to do what I want. I literally prefer speculating, prefer gaming conversations and opinions. That's why I made the channel. Yeah, we talk news, but I don't consider myself like a big news channel. If you want news, go to nintendolife.com. Go to nintendoeverything.com. Those two places alone will pretty much give you all the Nintendo news, real legit Nintendo news you can handle. You pretty much need to go nowhere else. You don't need to watch a single YouTuber. You do not need to follow anyone on Twitter. You don't need to go to Gaming Leaks and Reddit, whatever, because if it ends up being a legit kind of rumor, it's probably going to end up on Nintendo Life. Nintendo Everything is going to have literally everything. They don't cover some of the rumor content as much, but they're going to have every indie bit of news, every AAA bit of news, every third-party bit of news is going to appear first at nintendoeverything.com. Like, I'm telling you guys right now, if you just want news, stop watching fucking YouTube. Just stop. YouTube ain't where it's at. Oh, Spawncast, that's great. You're hearing about stories that sometimes happened 24 hours ago when the news cycle's already moved on. And that's not shade on John. John does great work over there, but it's kind of we're not the sources of news. So I'm going to keep doing what I want to do because that's what I enjoy. What's up, Sab Vasquez? I'm glad the COVID thing came out negative, bro, and I enjoy your content. You bring entertainment factor. Like talking to a friend about games, it's a lot more enjoyable. Like that's the way I approach my channel. I feel like you guys are all just a bunch of friends, and we're shooting the shit on video games. Yeah, and sometimes shooting the shit's going to be wrong, and that's okay. You know? I said all along, I don't know anything. There could be nothing Nintendo at the event. I did say Nintendo usually brings something. I did say that several times. Nintendo almost always brings something. Almost always. There is another year where Nintendo didn't bring anything either. So this isn't the first time Like people say, oh yeah, Nintendo doesn't care about the Game Awards. They weren't there. I'm like, yeah, Nintendo also vanished like 3 years ago and then came back. Like Nintendo doesn't always bring something to the Game Awards. Just to be clear. They just usually do. There's only like now 2 of the 7 years Nintendo didn't have something to present there. So yeah, this happens. It's not the end of the world. Still in a pandemic, folks. I don't know if you realize, like literally we're in a massive COVID breakout again in the United States. Then again, I did say all along that the whole COVID thing's never going away. At some point, we need to decide what to do about our lives. Do we keep living our lives in fear of COVID, which I'm sorry to anyone who's lost people. I'm sorry to anyone who has long-lasting health complications from COVID. I know getting COVID is scary. I know, it can make you really sick, especially if you're not vaccinated. Even if you are vaccinated, sometimes you can get sick. I realize this, but I also go, COVID ain't going anywhere. Our world is forever going to be dealing with COVID. It is a cold-like virus. There's a reason we don't have a cure for the cold. Mutates too often. Oh, it's this new strain. Yeah, you know how many new strains there probably are of COVID that we just haven't ran through the analyzing machine and figured out? Like, yeah, it rapidly mutates. We're never going to be able to get rid of it. So we have to eventually decide: do we keep living our lives in fear of it, or do we focus more? Like everyone's so focused on vaccines for it. Vaccines aren't the answer. They need to focus on treatments. Think about like the common cold, right? The common cold sucks ass. So instead of focusing on cures, they focused on treating the symptoms. That's why we have Dayquil and NyQuil and all the cold medicines out there, right? They're not to cure you. You have to cure yourself. But it helps you deal with the symptoms so it doesn't suck as bad, right? Same for the flu. No cure, but we try to prevent as much as we can with the symptoms with the medicine. That's the thing with COVID. We got to focus on stuff that treats COVID symptoms and let our bodies fight it off in the meantime. Once we have a consistent medicine specifically for COVID that can help with the symptoms, because the unfortunate truth is cold medicine doesn't seem to be doing much for COVID symptoms, even though the symptoms are really similar. Cold medicine doesn't seem to be doing much. So we need to focus on medicine for COVID, like that, over-the-counter stuff that we could just buy to help treat symptoms. And then I think move on with our lives. That's my opinion on that. It's been my opinion this whole time. I knew the moment we saw what kind of virus COVID was that we're never getting rid of it. It's always going to be here. Every winter, it's going to be spreading like crazy. And what happened? We're into winter time again, and it's spreading like crazy again. It's going to happen. That, or we fundamentally accept that we forever wear masks all the time. Like, don't shut things down. Let people come to stadiums and do, but we forever wear masks. Mask mandates worldwide forever. And I don't think anybody wants that either. There's no solution to a naturally occurring virus like this, other than to accept it and move on. If you look throughout human history, there's been a lot of viruses that have come and gone. Some of them have almost wiped out the entire human population. But the ones that survive build a stronger future population. And no one wants to talk about that. This is just another one of those situations where, yeah, most people survive and most people are asymptomatic, for crying out loud. And they'll build a stronger future where COVID doesn't matter as much. But the unfortunate truth is nobody wants to accept that reality, because it means we have to accept that some people are just going to die. And we view that death as unacceptable. And I know it's easy for me to say because I haven't lost anyone, but even if I lost my mom, and I love my mom, bless her soul, if I lost her, it would be devastating. But also, it would have been her time to go. I'd be sad for a while and have lots of fond memories and probably cry a lot like anyone else does when you lose a loved one. But also, we all die someday. Prayers to Australia. So Australia has that forced vaccine thing, and I don't want to spend too much time on this. At least in Australia, about the forced mandates. You know what's going on in California right now? schools are vaccinating children and bribing them not to tell their parents. That's happening in the United States right now. Schools in California are vaccinating children at school without parental permission and bribing the children to not tell their parents. That's literally happening right now. Right now. And look, I got nothing against the vaccine. I took it. I got the booster shot. It's whatever. You know, I got no problem with the vaccine myself. I'm a little skeptical of giving it to my children. Now that children are getting it, more and more research is sort of coming out showing that maybe it's not the safest thing in the world for children, let alone that children themselves are already have a stronger immune system than most adults. So for them, COVID is even less of a risk factor. So it's one of those weigh the risks of the possible side effects of the vaccine versus vaccine specifically in children versus their own immune system. And turns out that children's immune systems are pretty sturdy for the most part. Obviously, if you have an immunocompromised child and you want to give them the vaccine because it gives them a better chance, absolutely. But I'm talking about just like a normal kid out there, like, you know, I don't know that I think having a vaccinate them is a little much. But yeah, I got the booster. I got no problem. And if you want to be anti-vax, I ain't got a problem with that as well. You know, guys, reality is we all could boost our immune system better than we do anyways. You know, that fast food you eat, that junk you eat, the pizza you eat. When's the last time you took a vitamin? Last time you made sure you're getting enough vitamin C every day. The last time you took immune boosting substances that are available over the counter because we're not getting enough of it from our food. When's the last time you paid attention to that? Because you could boost your immune system as an adult, as anything, as a child, as anything, if you just eat better or at least pay attention and take proper vitamins. So you can already make your immune system stronger and give you a better chance anyways. You don't have to be vaccinated. But it doesn't hurt most adults to be vaccinated. So I'm not anti-vax. I'm vaccinated all the way, man. I got the, was it the Moderna? I think it's the Moderna one, or it's the Pfizer. I don't know. I got to check my vax card. I'm not sure which one I got. It wasn't the Johnson & Johnson, though. I haven't looked at my vax card in a while. They didn't even, like, when I got the booster shot, they didn't even, like, put anything new on my vax card. I brought it with, and I thought they were going to be like, oh, yeah, let me put boost. No, they didn't do shit. So it's in the medical system. I can look it up from Prevea Health. I can look it up. But yeah, vitamins, you know, you can boost your immune system. You know, you should be doing it anyways. I think COVID's been a nice reminder that most of us haven't cared about our health in a long time. I mean, I'm a big boy. I'm fat. I know. I have a worse immune system, a worse everything health-wise than most people that are thinner and take better care of themselves and, you know, take their vitamins and stuff. So yeah, since COVID started, I've been taking daily vitamins, making sure I get the proper nutrients I need. I've been trying to work on weight loss even before the pandemic. So yeah, I think it's just a reminder. Got to take care of yourselves better. Got to take care of yourselves better. Trustfly says vaccines are great, but the new mRNA ones don't prevent anything. We got to be careful. Vaccines are not inherently a cure. I think people have confused the word vaccine to mean cure because some vaccines are sort of like cures. Things like the vaccine against like rabies or the vaccine against polio. A lot of those are more cure-like vaccines where if you take that, there's a very, very, very low chance you ever contract those diseases. Now, you could technically still contract polio even if you have the vaccine if you're around people that always have polio. Like if you take the vaccine and then go to Africa and you're around a bunch of polio people all the time and you stay around them for months and months and months, you still might get polio. The vaccine doesn't guarantee that you won't. It just lowers the chance significantly that you can contract it. Doesn't necessarily cure you. Beyond that, the current vaccine for COVID, it's not even like that. The current vaccine for COVID is basically what over-the-counter medicine was. Not in how it works, but over-the-counter medicine treats the symptoms. So what does the COVID vaccine do? The COVID vaccine doesn't make you unable to get COVID. The common misconception is, I am vaccinated, I can't contract COVID. Yes, you can. You can contract it just as easily with the vaccine as without the vaccine. So if you were wearing a mask to protect yourself before, and you stop wearing a mask, you can still get COVID. It's got nothing to do with it. What it does do is help your body fight off the virus quicker. So what it does is it trains you to fight off the food source, so you contract COVID, and instead of being sick for 2 weeks, maybe you're only sick for a week. Maybe you're only sick for 5 days. Maybe, the symptoms only last for a couple days. They shorten the time that COVID impacts you if you get the negative effects. If you weren't going to get the negative effects anyways, the COVID vaccine basically doesn't do anything for you. Like if you're asymptomatic to every strain of COVID, the vaccine doesn't really help you anyways. So the thing is, how do you know if you're asymptomatic? Because if you're asymptomatic, you probably don't know if you ever had COVID. Like, I am 99.9% sure I'm asymptomatic to COVID. I literally, throughout the entire pandemic, was going to bars, being irresponsible, being around people all the time. I wore masks in other places. I didn't wear it at the bar. I didn't wear it, I always wore it at the grocery stores and everywhere else, but I never wore it at the bars, and I was around people all the time, and I guarantee that I contracted COVID at some point in the last 2 years. Never got sick. Doesn't mean my children can't sick. Doesn't mean my fiance. Doesn't mean my family couldn't get sick. And I was aware of this. What made me feel a bit better about it is, even though I was around those people and possibly could have gotten sick or could have gotten COVID, I wasn't around my parents, Yulia's parents, etc. Like we pretty much were isolated for almost a year. We pretty much didn't see anybody in our family for like a year. So then we had the vaccine, and then we started seeing family again. But DW, it doesn't mean you're not catching COVID. It means, one, your immune system could be a beast, DW. It doesn't mean you could have had COVID several times. You could be asymptomatic and not know. That's what asymptomatic means. You have something but don't know it, because it doesn't hurt you. It's kind of like some STDs. There are STDs out there that some only hurt females. Some only hurt males. Some you're just completely not immune to, but asymptomatic to. So you could have an STD and not even know, because it doesn't harm you, but it could harm somebody else. So that's always one of those conundrums with COVID. You could have COVID and not know. All of us right now could have COVID right now and not know. All 70 plus people of us could have COVID. I have no idea. And COVID, the reason that conversation even matters is because COVID impacts the video game industry, right? All the delays. The reason Nintendo's barely had any games in 2 years because of COVID. And you can say other studios, you're right. Other studios got some games out. PlayStation got a bunch of games out last year. Oh, but they also got out Ratchet & Clank this year and Returnal. And yeah, and most of those games were done in development like a year and a half ago. What you get is what we get in the last couple of years is kind of a look at how game development works with COVID, and how different developers handle things. So Sony is releasing games that were pretty much done from 2 years ago, 2 years later. Nintendo releases games that wrapped up like 6 months before it comes out. That's just the way Nintendo does it. They release games that wrapped up 6 months before the game came out. So because of that, because Nintendo's development cycle is much closer, the ending of it's much closer to release, that's going to lead to long delays in games. I mean, in Japan, they're still working from home. That never stopped. A lot of us might be back to our regular lives, but going to sporting events, doing things, just living our life without, being carefree. That's not how it is in Japan. Japan ain't like that right now. So there's a lot of things affecting the video game industry at the moment. At least when we talk about COVID's impact, we're not talking about people abusing others. Hello, Activision Blizzard. You dumb motherfuckers. Everyone in management, I feel like, should just be gone. Just be shit-canned. That whole company needs to be flipped upside down. I don't say destroyed, but all the management needs to go. Needs to go. Start at the top, get Kotick out of there, get a brand new CEO in there that's going to do something positive for the company, and then slowly just weed out the entire management group. That's how I would fix Activision Blizzard. You're gonna have to get rid of all the management group and rebuild a whole new culture and have an HR people in every single building that actually has not just one HR person, but has an HR team that's walking the floor. And you might go, that seems excessive. Well, hey, if you act like a fucking pig, teachers walk the classroom to see if kids are cheating. Oh, better walk the fucking classroom here at Activision Blizzard to make sure nobody's sexually harassing another person. Because that's fucking ridiculous. I don't get why people get scared of HR. A lot of people work at companies like, I'm scared of HR. Why? Just be a decent person. You ain't got to be worried about HR. HR will leave you the fuck alone. The only thing you have to worry about with HR is if you date someone in the office, usually you got to deal with HR because you guys got to sign a bunch of agreements. Especially when it's like management versus, someone underneath them. You got to sign a bunch of stuff just to waive the company's liability because obviously, you have to worry about favorable treatment or like if the relationship ends, negative treatment in the workplace. But anyways, we're gonna end it right there. I gotta get going. I want to talk about some Breath of the Wild 2, baby. So I got to get going to work on that video. I got to get my car into the shop today because the car needs a lot of work. So yeah, I got a busy day today. Remember, podcast tonight, everyone. See you guys there, I hope. Peace out, everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed today's Indie World.